Till now, what we have discussed is we have discussed shunt DC motors, we have discussed separately excited DC motor, then we discussed series DC motor, and in this lecture we are going to discuss compound DC motor. If you remember, in separately excited DC motor, the field and the armature of the motor were separately excited. That is, there was a separate voltage source for the field circuit and separate voltage source for the armature circuit. But in case of shunt DC motors, the same voltage source were used to supply both the armature as well as the field. In shunt DC motor, the field circuit was connected in parallel to the armature. That's why we call this a shunt DC motor. Whereas in series DC motor, field circuit was connected in series with the armature. That's the reason why the characteristics of shunt DC motors and series DC motor were considerably different. The class of DC motors that we are going to study today, that is the compound DC motor, basically has two field windings. I repeat, the compound DC motor has two field windings. I will draw a rough schematic of the compound DC motor over here. If suppose this is the rotor of compound motor, and let's assume this is the stator which contains the field. This basically has two field windings here. Let's suppose this is 1 and this is counterpart of this. Let's call this 1 prime, this is 2, and let's call this 2 prime. We have two field windings. First winding, or one of the windings, is connected in shunt with the armature winding. One of the winding, let's suppose 1 and 1 prime, is connected in shunt with the armature winding, while as another part, let's call this winding 2, is connected in series with the armature. That is, we have two field windings here. One field winding is connected in shunt or in parallel with the armature, and another field winding is connected in series with the armature. So the equivalent circuit of a cumulative DC motor will look like this. Let's suppose we represent back EMF here. This is EA. Then we have an armature resistance. Let's call this as RA. Then we will have the series part of field. I will call this as RS. LS. We'll call this as RS and I will call this as LS. Resistance of series part of field, inductance of series field winding. And you have another field winding which is connected in shunt. You call this as RF, you call this as LF, and you connect this to a voltage source VT over here. Suppose this current here is IL. A part of current will go here. We call this as IF. A part of current goes through here. We call that as IA, armature current, which obviously also passes through the series field. Now, depending upon, since you have two field windings here, field winding 1 and field winding 2. Now, depending upon whether the MMF from the two field windings 1 and 2 add to each other or do they subtract from each other, we have two types of compound DC motors. I will repeat this. Depending upon whether the MMF or whether the flux, in simpler terms, whether the flux from the two field windings 1 and 2 add to each other or they subtract from each other, we have two types of compound DC motors. First one is known as cumulative compound DC motor, and second one is known as differential compound DC motor. Cumulative compound DC motor and differential compound DC motor. As the name itself suggests, in cumulative compound DC motor, the two field windings, the series field winding and the shunt field winding, they are basically adding their MMF, basically add to each other. That is MMF of coil 1 and MMF of coil 2 add to each other. So resultant MMF is MMF 1 plus MMF 2. Whereas in differential compound DC motor, the two MMF subtract from each other. Or in other words, the MMF of series winding is basically in phase opposition to MMF of main field or shunt field. The MMF of series field winding is opposite to MMF of shunt field winding. So the two MMF subtract from each other and net MMF will be MMF 1 minus MMF 2. And we can show this cumulative compound DC motor and differential compound DC motor using dot convention. The same way we use dot convention in transformers. Let's suppose, since this is series field winding, I'll represent a dot over here and I represent a dot over here on the shunt field winding. Since this current IL, a part will flow through as shunt branch as IF. This current IF is entering the dotted terminal. Similarly, this current IA is entering the dotted terminal over here. Current is entering the dotted terminal, current is entering the dotted terminal. So the MMF produced by this field and MMF produced by this field, they are in phase with each other. So for the dots here, this motor is in cumulative compound configuration. But had this winding been wound in such a manner that, suppose there was a dot or there was a square on this side and there was a square on this side, It's not possible to have both cumulative and differential compound for the same motor. No, I'm just representing it here. Either it will be dot and dot, either it will be square and square. If the markings are like this, square here, what this means is that the current is leaving from this marked end while a current is entering in the marking end. Since current is leaving the marked end, here current is entering the marked end. On one winding it's leaving, on one winding it's entering. So the MMF produced by this winding and this winding, they are in phase opposition. So the two MMFs subtract from each other. Had this been wound like this was dot and this was dot, current was entering the dotted end, current was entering the dotted end. So this was cumulative compound. But here current is leaving the marked end, current is entering the marked end. On one case it's entering, on one case it's leaving. So this is differential compound DC motor. Fine. So this basically depends upon the sense in which the windings are wound. Is this wound, if this is wound in clockwise, this is also wound in clockwise, then the two are in. If this is wound in clockwise, this is also wound in clockwise, then you can say that the two windings are cumulative compound. If one is wound in, say, in clockwise sense and another one is wound in anti-clockwise sense, then we will say that the two are in differential compound. But the best way is to tell from the dot convention. If current is entering the dot here, current is entering the dot here, current will come here, current is entering dot here, current is entering dot here. So with respect to dot, if this would have been dot here, if from this configuration, so this is cumulative compound. Had the marks been marked like this, then current would have left the dotted here and current would have entered the dotted here. Then this is a differential compound. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now what is the KVL equation for the compound DC motor? The KVL equation for the compound DC motor is VT terminal voltage will be equal to back EMF, that is EA, plus this voltage here is same as this voltage here. So this voltage will be this drop plus this drop, that is IA RA plus RS. Also this armature current IA you can calculate here. Try to solve as many problems as possible. IA is equal to total current is IL. I'm using KCL at this node here. IA is equal to total current is IL minus IF field current. We can also calculate this IF, which will be a constant current for constant resistance. IF will be equal to total voltage, that is VT, divided by resistance in this circuit, that is RF. These are the three equations that you can use. Now let's study the torque speed characteristics. In other words, what you also call as terminal characteristics of cumulative compound DC motor and differential compound DC motor. I will take one by one. First, let's take cumulative compound DC motor. In cumulative compound DC motor, as we can see from here, you have one shunt field and you have another series field. The current passing through the series field, like in the series motor, is a function of the armature current, which depends upon the load. More the load, more the armature current, more the current through the series winding, so more the series flux. If you take this much portion only, this is same as a series motor. If you neglect this part here, consider this as short, then this is a shunt motor here. We know in shunt motor, as long as this terminal voltage stays constant and you don't change this resistance RF, field resistance, you are not changing this field resistance, the current IF is constant because current IF is VT. VT is constant, the RF is constant, so IF is constant. When current IF is constant, so flux. So flux because of the field winding, main field or shunt field. Flux because of shunt field is constant. So flux because of the shunt field is constant, while as flux because of the series field is variable, which depends upon the armature current. So a cumulative, or in fact the compound DC motor, has two fluxes, one because of the shunt field winding and one because of the series field winding. And the flux because of the shunt field winding is constant as long as you don't change the value of resistance there. But the value of series flux is a function of armature current, which is itself a function of the load torque. This cumulative compound DC motor thus behaves both as a series motor and a shunt motor. Now you may ask, what does that mean? Since if this winding is not there, this is a series motor. If this winding is not there, this is a shunt motor. Now depending upon whether this MMF is stronger or this MMF is stronger, this will behave either as a series motor or as a shunt motor. Not completely totally series motor, this is a compound motor, but its characteristics will be more like if these number of turns, series number of turns are more and shunt number of turns are less comparatively, series number of turns are more, so this will predominantly behave as if this is a series motor. Characteristics more like that of series motor. If number of turns here are more, this will behave as if this is more like a shunt motor. Fine. Basically, this compound DC motor or cumulative compound DC motor has characteristics of both the motors. The characteristics with the series motor was that it had high starting torque. So this is high starting torque. Though the starting torque will not be as high as in a pure series motor. Why? Because in a pure series motor, the series winding provides all of the flux that is needed in the machine. Whereas in compound DC motor, a part of the flux is provided by series winding, a part of the flux is provided by the shunt winding. So, though the starting torque is higher than the shunt motor, but the starting torque will be lesser than the series motor. Thus, it basically combines the best features. The cumulative compound motor combines the best features of both the series motor and the shunt motor. What was the best feature of the series motor? The best feature of the series motor, if you could remember, was the high starting torque. Torque was directly proportional to current square. Remember? So this has high starting torque. But there was a problem with the series motor. If you could remember, in the last lecture we discussed that. The problem with the series motor was that if you reduce the load, that is for a small value of induced torque, if load torque on the series motor is reduced, the speed of the series motor can tend to infinity or can be very, very large as compared to the rated torque, which will damage the motor, its bearings, etc. But shunt motor didn't have that problem of runaway. That is, the speed of the shunt motor never reached that high values, abnormally high values as that of the series motor. So series motor had the advantage of high starting torque, but it had the problem of excessively large speeds if load was reduced. So this motor has both the good qualities. It has high starting torque, but it does not have no overspeed problems. Overspeeding was the problem in series motor when load was reduced. So when you have a cumulative compound motor, you have both the good properties of series motor and shunt motor. In series motor, you have high starting torque. In shunt motor, you have no overspeed problems. You have both the properties in a cumulative compound motor. So you have best of series motor, you have best of shunt motor. At light loads, when the load on the motor is less, had this been a pure series motor, when the load on the series motor is less, the speed tends to be infinity or tends to be very, very large, abnormally high value. But here in compound DC motor, when load on the motor is less, current IA will be less. When current IA is less, current through the series winding is less. When current through the series winding is less, that means series flux is less. When series flux is less, that means the predominant flux in the machine is shunt flux. So there is no overspeed problem. I will repeat this. When load on the machine is less, armature current IA is less. When armature current IA is less, current through the series winding is less. When current through series winding is less, series flux is less. When series flux is less, that means the predominant flux in the machine is the shunt flux, which won't let the machine overspeed. But when load on the machine is high, so current IA is large. When IA is large, current through series winding is large. When current through series winding is large, so flux due to series winding is large. So predominant flux in the machine is the series flux. When predominant flux in the machine is series flux, means machine predominantly behaves as a series motor. And for series motor, we know torque is large. Series motor produces large torque per unit of current. Remember? So, what are the terminal characteristics? This is speed, N or omega, whatever you call it. This is induced torque. I will draw all the three cases. For shunt motor, it looked something like this. Obviously, I'm drawing this without armature reaction. I'm assuming the machine has compensating windings. This one is for shunt. And this one was for series. Note this point here. I am not touching this curve of series motor to this axis, to speed axis. Because even if when induced torque becomes 0, theoretically speed of series motor should tend to infinity. That's why I'm not starting this from here. This can asymptotically go here. While as for cumulative compound motor, there's no problem. Like as in torque induced go to zero, speed goes to infinity. It will start from here. It will lie somewhere in between shunt and series. So this is cumulative compound. Cumulatively compound. Fine. Now, what we can basically do, we can basically adjust the number of turns in the series winding and number of turns in the shunt winding. If number of turns in the series winding are more, I'm talking in terms of comparative terms. If number of turns in the series winding are more and number of turns in the shunt winding are less, then the motor behaves predominantly as a more towards the series wind motor. If number of turns here is more, then this behaves more as a shunt motor. Fine. So by adjusting the number of comparative number of turns in the series and shunt winding, we can adjust the degree of this motor being series or shunt motor. More series or more shunt motor. Fine. Okay. This was about cumulative compound motor. Now let's come to differential compound motor. Sometimes it's also called as cumulatively compound motor and differentially compound motor. In differentially compound motor, the MMF of series winding is basically in opposition to MMF of the shunt winding. That is, MMF produced by this winding is in opposition to MMF produced by this winding. And the two MMF subtract from each other. The two MMFs basically subtract from each other. Because of this reason, differential compound DC motors are highly unstable. They are never used. They are never used. Then why do we need to study them? I'll come to that. They are never used because of their instability problems. Why is this unstable? Look what happens. Since the MMF from series winding basically opposes the MMF from the shunt winding. Now suppose as load on the motor increases, what happens to IA? IA increases. When load on the motor increases, IA increases. When IA increases, what happens to series MMF? Series MMF increases. Since series MMF is in phase opposition, is basically opposite to the shunt MMF. So what happens to the total MMF? Total MMF decreases. When total MMF decreases, what happens to total flux? Total flux decreases. When total flux in the motor decreases, what happens to speed? We already know this. When total flux decreases, speed increases. When speed of motor increases, that means current increases. Because more the speed, more the friction and windage torques. Current increases. Again, when current increases, this series MMF increases. When series MMF increases, shunt MMF is same. So shunt minus series again decreases. When total MMF decreases, total flux decreases, current again increases. So its speed keeps on increasing till this motor reaches the runaway condition. This is highly unstable. Why? Because of runaway. This motor tends to run away. I will again repeat this what I mentioned here. Let's suppose load increase on this motor. This is no problem in cumulative compound. The problem is only in differentially compound. Load increases, that means IA increases. As IA increases, that means MMF. But which MMF? Series MMF increases. When series MMF increases, net MMF, which is shunt minus series, shunt MMF minus series MMF, which is a net MMF. Series MMF increases, shunt is constant, so shunt minus series decreases. When net MMF in the machine decreases, what happens to flux phi in the machine? Flux phi decreases. We already know as flux phi in the machine decreases, speed omega increases. When speed omega increases, current IA increases because of increasing friction and windage losses. When current IA increases, this whole process repeats itself. Again, speed omega increases. So the speed keeps on increasing continuously. And this motor does not settle to a particular speed. This runs away. So the terminal characteristics for differentially compound DC motor will look like this. This is induced torque on this side. Its speed N or omega on this side. It tends to go like this. It tends to run away. There's one more problem with this. It's in fact impossible to start a differentially compound DC motor. It's impossible to start. Why? Let me answer that question. Since we know this series MMF opposes the shunt MMF, fine? This motor was supposed to rotate in a particular direction. But what happens initially when we switch on the motor? What is speed of this motor? Speed of motor omega is 0. When omega is 0, EA is K phi omega, so EA is 0. When omega is 0, that means EA is 0. When EA back EMF is 0, when EA is 0, so VT is equal to IA into RA plus RS. So IA is VT divided by RA plus RS. Since EA is 0, IA will be a very large value. Are you getting me or not? What I mean to say is at the starting condition, EA is equivalent to 0 because omega is 0. Why is omega 0? Because motor is yet to be started. When omega is 0, then EA equal to K phi omega is 0. When EA is 0, this expression becomes VT is equivalent to IA into RA plus RS. EA is 0. Or IA becomes equal to VT divided by RA plus RS. Since RA and RS resistance are a very small value, so IA is equal to VT by very small value, so IA is a very large value. IA has a very large value. Thus at starting condition, since IA has a very large value, so MMF because of this series winding is a large value, that MMF completely tends to neutralize the MMF of this shunt winding because this MMF opposes this MMF. And in some cases, this MMF tends to be greater than the MMF of the main field winding. That means the flux in the machine is basically in the opposite direction. If this was supposed to be North Pole, this was supposed to be South Pole. The flux in the machine is opposite. This basically behaves as small South Pole, this behaves as a North Pole. So this motor tends to rotate at a very slower speed in opposite direction. And you would say, sir, what's the problem with it? Let's start in opposite direction. But its speed will be a very small value. Why? Because flux is a very small value to begin with. Torque will be... This will rotate in opposite direction with a very small speed. When speed is less, almost tending to 0, EA is almost tending to 0, IA will be a very high value continuously. A very huge current is flowing through this branch which will damage the motor. So this will start to rotate in opposite direction while damaging itself while burning. So this motor will burn up. This is the reason why we never ever use differentially compound DC motor. Then again back to the same question. Why do we need to study this? We need to study this motor because when we study generators, we sometimes tend to use generators which are cumulative compound DC generator. I will explain this one more time and once we are there. If we are using cumulative compound DC generator and there is a reversal of power flow reverses, then a cumulative compound DC generator basically behaves as a differential compound DC motor. So care should be taken that if ever you have to use a cumulative compound DC generator and there's a chance that reversal of power flow may happen, you should ensure that there is a reverse flow power trip such that the cumulative compound DC generator does not behave as differential compound DC motor and damage the machine. The machine will simply burn up. Fine. This finishes our discussion on cumulative compound DC motor and differentially compound DC motor. In other words, we finished our discussion on compound DC motors. Now, what are the methods that we are going to use for speed control of cumulative compound DC motor? The methods of speed control are the same that we used for the shunt motor. One was the field resistance method or field flux method by changing the flux here. Second one was the armature voltage control method. And third one was the armature series resistance method. The same three methods can be used here as well. In theory, same methods can be used to control the speed of differential compound DC motor. But since we do not use differential compound DC motors at all, so it's useless to discuss the speed control methods of differential compound DC motor. Fine. We'll continue in next lecture, inshallah.